I am here in the kitchen with Mario Porreca, one of our seminarians. Mario actually, before he entered the seminary, was a chef. And because you'll rarely find me in the kitchen, I needed some professional assistance to make this possible so that you have a good ending to your meal.
While it's true that you're hardly ever in the kitchen, you're no stranger to dessert.
That's true, that's very true.
The ingredients for our Basque burnt cheesecake today are 2 tablespoons of softened butter, 2 pounds of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, 6 eggs, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 cups of heavy cream, and 1/3 cup of cake flour. Before you start anything, preheat your oven, 400 degrees.
All right, Mario, well, you said this is going to be easy, but it looks like there's a lot of ingredients here. So,
Yes,
so where do we start?
This is going to be fun, and this is because usually when we're together, you tell me what to do all the time. So now I get to put you to work.
I'll do my best here.
So the first thing we're going to start with a springboard pan. So just brush the bottoms and sides of that with this butter. The butter just kind of holds the parchment to the pan, and it's easy to clean at the end. After he brushes that, and this is very important, we're gonna layer 2 pieces of this parchment in the bottom of that, and you wanna make sure there's about a 2-inch rise from this parchment around the sides of the pan. You've done this before, haven't you?
I'm glad it looks like that.
Take a little more butter and kind of brush this so that when you overlap, it holds together.
Okay.
While he's doing that, what I have here is 2 pounds of softened cream cheese. So you're gonna wanna pull that out at least an hour before you get started so that the mixer can kind of handle it. To our cream cheese now, in the mixer, I have a cup of sugar. So I'm gonna add that in there. And this is a baking technique called creaming, when you cream butter or cream cheese. And when you're creaming your sugar with your cream cheese, you wanna make sure that it's creamy, that the sugar has been completely dissolved. And it's gonna take probably 3 to 5 minutes total to get that really incorporated.
Mario, that looks like it's just about done.
Father, you're right. See, you are no stranger to the kitchen. So I'm gonna turn the mixer back on, and you're just gonna slowly add those eggs. Try to do them like 1 at a time, or just slowly.
1 at a time.
As the
pressure's on here. 6 eggs.
When you're using a stand mixer like this, it makes life really easy. I like these better, but you just have to make sure you keep scraping the bowl. So now what we're gonna add to this, Father, is the heavy cream. Slowly incorporate that. Now, if you wanna go ahead and add the salt.
You ready for the vanilla?
Go for it. Perfect. So the last thing we're gonna add is the cake flour. Cake flour has a lower gluten content, okay? So what that means is it's a little harder to overmix, and it's not gonna be as gummy or as chewy. You can see the batter, even after adding the flour, is still somewhat thin. But don't be afraid. It's gonna all come together.
You need to have faith.
That's right. Do you wanna pour or do you wanna scrape?
I'm not pouring.
Okay.
The Eucharist often plays a very important role in the discernment process, or that process of someone trying to figure out what God's calling them to. So I'm just curious, could you share a little bit about how the Eucharist maybe helped guide you through that time of this pretty significant switch in your life of career?
I went to a Catholic men's retreat at Christ Our Shepherd Center. My dad took me there, and I really didn't want to go. I received the sacrament of confession, I received the Eucharist a few different times, we did Eucharistic adoration, and it really spurred my faith back on. And then I started to think about seminary. So I started to, I like to tell people, and this is true, I would sit in my room on my iPad and use incognito mode to look up seminary and say, like, what does that look like? What would that be like? But I didn't want anyone else knowing that I was doing it.
Right, and I think that's pretty common. Like, a lot of guys will do that kind of period where they don't want to go public with it, where they're just kind of checking it out, but keeping it very private.
I spent about a year and a half of heavy discernment, going to daily Mass, sitting in front of the Eucharist every day after Mass for at least 15 minutes and praying. And then it got to the point where you and I connected, and then here we are.
Yeah. And I think, from your story, just talking about how the Eucharist drew you in, it's a reminder to all of us and why the church has said we need this year of the Eucharist, because it's through that gift. Right? Jesus knew what he was doing when he left us, his body and blood.
Absolutely.
It's through that we encounter our Lord in a real way, and it draws us deeper, whether we're discerning the priesthood or just trying to grow in our faith.
So now that we've got it in the pan, we're gonna put it in the oven, 400 degrees, and it's gonna take about 60 to 65 minutes. What is also cool about this is as it collapses, as we let it cool, you can see how it's got like this bowl in the middle almost. It's natural. You can fill that with berries, you can fill that with whatever fruits in season. I have some pecans here. Tossed them with some melted butter, some nutmeg, some sea salt, and roasted them. And then when they came out hit them with orange zest. And you can get this recipe from the website. Then we'll take our sauce.
Now, can we extend it and get a little on the board?
You want to have fun with this. And then just, you know, to give it some color, throw some mint on the platter here.
Oh, and right away I can tell it's very light, just falling apart. And just excellent.